Hey folks, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Dungeons & Lasers set of modular rivers. Now, I hear some of you saying that there are lots of ways to craft your own rivers. Why don't I just do that? Well, that's a great question. The answer is I tried it once, and I completely beefed it. It did not go well. And well, I've certainly learned enough since then that I could come back at it and try again. And I might do that someday. My list of projects that I want to do for the channel and in my own time is already probably longer than the rest of the days of my life. So getting back to one, it's not huge on my list of things to do. And in the meantime, I want rivers on my table. So I'm gonna open this up, get it painted and ready to go, and we'll do a little review. Okay, so we have a lot of sprues of translucent blue plastic, it looks like. These are all the clips that are used to hold pieces together. And then all the molded river pieces. I do think that I want to preserve this transparency as much as I can. So you guys probably do brush on primer on the rocks, but I don't think that is what I'm gonna go with. I think the solution is probably just to spray them with a clear varnish instead of a primer, and then base coat the rocks and dry brush from there. That way we can preserve the transparency of the water while still making it so we can paint on the rocks. I'm just gonna get all these clipped out and sprayed with varnish, and we'll go from there. Okay, so all these were just trimmed off the sprue with clippers, and then at the sprue connection points I trimmed up the flash like you would with any miniature. Then I sprayed them with matte varnish. You can see it's frosted them a little bit, I'm not too worried about that. For now, what matters is that that's going to give us something to paint over for the rocks, acting like a primer. The actual glossiness, we can return that to it later. Now what I'm going to do is take a variety of craft paint, or miniature paints rather, that are paints I'm not really too fond of, things I don't really care about that much. And these are what I'm going to use for painting the stones. Just a whole bunch of different colors, different types of paint. They're just things that I've ended up with over the years from testing different paint lines or mystery boxes or all kinds of other stuff, just trying them out, and they're fine paint, but I don't love them. They're all right. So these are what I'm going to use. That kind of paint makes great fodder for terrain builds and for painting these terrain kits. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started on that, and I'm just going to be brushing it on and kind of lightly wet blending a bunch of these different colors together over the rocks. So one thing to keep in mind, if you're going to be using this kind of really rough wet blending technique to paint on something like this, is to keep a clean brush handy so that if you slip up and you get paint onto the translucent blue plastic, it's really easy to remove that way. And you're not scrambling around looking for a brush to remove it with at the last second. I'm going to a fair bit of effort here to preserve that blue plastic and that translucency, so you don't want it messed up by something simple like that. So I keep a fairly large brush around that is a different color from the others that I use, so that I can grab it at a glance if I need to. Otherwise, just come in with those different colors I'm using. Get a few different tones in there and keep it interesting, and get it onto the rocks. So as I'm painting this, I just want to add one nice little detail I'm noticing, is that right here along the waterline, there's these really deep grooves, which means that it's pretty easy to come in here and just follow the groove with the brush and not get any paint on the water, which is pretty nice. Makes that much easier to do without having to worry about every brush stroke. Which is a nice little feature of the sculpt. Means you can come in here and do this fairly quickly and fairly messy, to be honest, without worrying too much. So here are the base coats on the first panel, and this took about, I don't know, about 15 minutes maybe for the whole thing. Outside of what I said I was going to do, the only change was that I took some of the most orange clay looking sort of paint, and I've made sure to put it down in the deepest crevices between the rocks here along the shoreline. I thought it might look like it's sort of a clay river. I don't know. It looks alright. You don't have to do that. It was just a style choice on my part, but that took almost no time, which is great because there's a bunch more of them. But very easy technique to start with. I'm just going to blast through the rest. Okay, so here they are, all painted up in that kind of wet blending style with a bit of orange between the rocks to be like clay. And I do want to address one thing before I move on to the next step, because I can already hear some of you typing from here, and that is, yes, they are too blue. Water is not this color. Water has never been this color. If you find water this color, do not drink that water. But, I mean, one, I don't really do hyper-realistic terrain by any means. That's not my style. It's never going to be my style. Now, if you do that and you like that, God bless, go for it, no problem. But that's just not what I do. So it doesn't really bother me. I mean, it bothers me a little because this is way over the top. But end of the day, I still think I can make it look pretty good. And when I put it on the table, it's gonna read as a river. That said, an easy improvement to this set would have been to make this just clear plastic, not clear blue plastic, but just simple translucent plastic. And then if I wanted to color it a really bright obnoxious blue, I could do that. If I wanted to do something more subtle, I could. If I wanted to make it a river of blood or ooze or slime or tar or oil or anything else, then I could do that myself. But I guess the whole point of this set is for it to be kind of a one-stop sort of thing. So I do understand, but it's too blue. All right, the next step is gonna be dry brushing. And I'm gonna dry brush over all of the rocks with this off-white color. Just gonna get all of the rocks, but I'm also gonna be dry brushing all of these areas that are kind of ripples on the water. Just really lightly hit those with that off-white to add some dimension and contrast to the water itself and hopefully make it look a little bit less blue. Now that said, while I am dry brushing this, one thing I do want to avoid is hitting anything near these edges. I don't want to highlight that edge because that's going to make, of the water, because that's going to make it much more obvious that these are pieces that have been just kind of slotted together when they're all together on the table. It's going to make it look less natural. And there we go. You can see there how much one layer of dry brushing starts to make things pop. As you can see, I'm just doing this with very, very little paint left on the brush, so that I have to go over it several times to even get the water to pick up the color. And that's exactly how you want to do it because you don't want this to come off too strong. You can also see how much that makes the texture of this pop immediately. Now I did get all of these dry brushed, as you can tell, and I think that overall they're looking pretty good and we're getting close to the final part, but I can't help wanting some darker shadows. So I'm coming in with an oil wash, and this is just a mix of brown, black, and yellow ochre to give a really thin, warm brown wash. I'm being careful not to get this on the water, but it's an oil wash, so worst case scenario, I can lift it back up again with a bit of white spirits, but I'm hoping not to have to do that. I'm not 100% convinced that this is the right call here, but I have to give it a shot because I want those darker shadows. Yeah, that already looks better to me. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, if this was a good decision or if I should have just let that be. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the darker shadows. We'll see how it looks when it's dried. Okay, the oil wash is dry. And while it is not dramatically darker, you can see in around areas like this and around the smaller rock formations in these little divots that it has shaded it and brought it down a little bit, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'm pretty happy with that. I probably could have gone darker on it, but I would rather it be too subtle than too dark. Which leaves just one thing left, really, and that is going to be this. I'm going to be using this water effect on the water itself to make it a little shinier, a little more reflective, and hopefully bring back some of the translucency. The finish on the varnish is really kind of cloudy, but I think if I go over that with the really glossy water effect, that will help to bring back that translucency. Now, if you don't have something like this, I would recommend maybe just using a regular gloss varnish. That should have basically the same effect on this kind of project, because I'm not really going to be using this to give it any kind of shape or anything. It's just going to be bringing back that shine, making it look a little bit more like water instead of dry brushed plastic. Now, as you can see, I'm just really roughly brushing this on. These brush strokes, they are not going to show up in the finished product, so I'm not too worried about it. By the time this dries, you won't see any of that. Just have to make sure to get it into all the spaces where the water would be and to keep it off of the rocks. Now, if you use things like this, these texture pastes, the kind of water effect stuff, the ground texture pastes, I cannot recommend using the AK ones highly enough. For price, they are the best ones out there, and you'll get the greatest amount of them for the price. The things like the Citadel texture pastes, it's kind of all the same stuff, except if you go by volume, theirs are 3 or 4 times the price of the AK range, and they do the exact same thing. So it's just, you gotta be careful with these kinds of hobby products, because it's so easy to overpay, especially if you don't want to look around, if you don't want to do any research on what you're buying, which is understandable. But hobby companies, some of them, prey on that. They prey on the idea that you will not research the product, you will buy what is convenient for you to buy, and so they can charge you whatever they want. Don't do that. Do a little research. If you don't trust me for saying that this one is one of the best for the volume and for the money, then that's totally fine. But do a little research and don't end up paying 3 or 4 times more than you have to. That's my bit of advice for hobby product shopping today. Alright, here we go. Check that out. So that is with the water effect dried. You can see how much shinier it is and how much of the translucency is brought back. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, I hope so. It is way more translucent than it was because the surface is now glossy and smooth again, which kind of undoes the work of the matte primer that I put over it originally, which clouded the translucency over. This has brought it back, which is great. I'm really happy with how that has turned out and how the pieces with the dry brushing and the water effect look. Not bad at all. I think though there's really only one way to see how this is gonna look in practice, and that is to make up a battle map. So let's go do that and talk about some final thoughts on this. So here we go. I've set up a battle mat. We've got river cutting through the edge of a forest land, Some goblinoid poachers have come, and they've been taking the local wildlife to sell at markets back home. The players have stumbled in just as a wild owlbear comes out of the woods to make it known that she didn't like the goblinoids taking her cub. An easy setup, and this river that bisects the battle map instantly makes the tactical choices more interesting. Does the party split up? Do they go separate directions and one of them handle the owlbear, the other two take on the goblinoids? Do they all go one way? Do the goblinoids have ways to cross the river? We can see one of them is on like a frog monster here. Can it jump across? They also have a ballista. Will they fire across at the players or at the owlbear? Rivers are great for things like this. They instantly make those kinds of tactical choices just so much more interesting. But as to the river itself, is it worth the cost of entry? Let me tell you what I wanted it for first. I wanted something relatively easy to paint that was going to be quick, that I could just set down on the table and instantly get those tactical choices that we're talking about. And it does that. In fact, I really like the sculpt. I think that the length of the river that it provides is really quite good for the amount that you pay for it. That said, it isn't cheap. So, this blue, I think it really is all going to come down to how much does that bother you. If that's going to bother you a lot, this is not for you, because there is nothing you can do that's going to make this an acceptable blue if this bothers you. And it does bother me a little, and I know that while I've been working on this, every time my wife walks into the room, she just stares at them and says, "It's so blue." And now to me it looks a little bit like a river of Kool-Aid thanks to that, and I can't unsee it. But if it doesn't bother you, or if you're just willing to take that and accept it, then it's a pretty great product for the price. I'm happy with it. That may not have sounded like I was happy with it, but I actually am. I think it's going to be very useful for me. And the best part about it for me, one of the best parts, is that it's just so modular. I can just stack these up and put them away with my other Dungeons and Lasers sets, and then they're not going to take up a ton of room on the shelf. It's not going to be a problem for storing it. It's not going to be an issue. I can just pack it up, put it away, and when I want to get it out again, I can grab the whole stack at once and just bring it with me to the table. To me, that's definitely worth it, and that makes it a pretty good product. And by the way, if you liked that battle mat that I set that scene up on, check out tablebound.ca. They are a great Canadian company, a family-owned business that makes amazing battle mats. This is not sponsored, I just like them. Alright, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Would this blue color put you off of buying this? Is it too much for you, or is it the kind of thing where you're going to put it on your table and just, it's not going to bother you, you're never going to think about it again? Let me know, I'm kind of torn. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Really very cool.